Ibrahim is not just any other name. It's not just any other person. Neither is it just any other boy. Ibrahim is a gay man. He's a Nigerian. He's HIV positive. Ibrahim is my best friend. Ibrahim's story is my story. And for many men who have sex with men and gay men all over the continent of Africa, Ibrahim's story is our story. While I was 18 and struggling with my sexuality, Ibrahim was 17 and he was going through the same road. In 1992, just leading up to Christmas in my secondary school, we were preparing for the Christmas carol service. And a friend of mine invited me to come along and see a film. The title of that film is The Burning Hell. The film, which was made in 1974, gave the story or the vision of what it is life after death, the reward of good and the reward of evil. In the reward of evil, there's this picture or scenery of hellfire, of people burning in fire, thirsty, begging for water, maggots coming out of their eyes, their nostrils, their ears, and everything. It was gory. And all of a sudden, there was this picture of heaven, of how beautiful heaven is, people clothed in white. It was so beautiful. And just that moment, I broke down. I started crying. I was really, really crying, and I was begging God for forgiveness. I was crying because at that time, my homosexuality was a curse. I imagined what would happen to me if I die at that moment. I'll go to hell, and I'm going to burn in hell like these people. So after the crying and everything, I became an evangelist. So I started preaching in schools, on campus. I go around my local area, I was preaching. But something was not right. Something was not right because I wasn't preaching because I wanted to change life. I was preaching because I wanted to tell myself that my life is not worth living. I was running away from my sexuality. I was running away for who I was then. So, I gained admission into the university in 1999. And then, I came across Ibrahim. But before then, while I was going through this journey in my life, Ibrahim, who happened to come from a Muslim home, quite liberal Muslim home, had the best of education, the best of love, the best of affection from his family. Though while he was struggling like me, he was able to deal with those challenges in life because he had the necessary love to deal with it. So he had the best of education, he had the best of everything. I had the best of free education, the government system can give me. So, when I met Ibrahim when I met Ibrahim at the university, he came in to study sociology, and I was admitted to study theater art. I've met him a few days before, and he was at a gay party, an underground gay party in Lagos. Something drew me to him. It was the life of the party. He was dancing on top of the table, he was making noise, and everybody loved him. And I was sitting down around the corner, hating him so much because I just wanted to be that center of attention that he was taking. And he was in the spotlight, and I was like, wow, I really wish I could be like this guy. So in 2001, I just came back from visiting my grandparents in the village, and I got a call that I needed to come to the hospital. Somebody would like to see me. And I was like, what is happening? They wouldn't tell me the name of the person. So I went. And when I got to the hospital, I was ushered into the specialist unit. And when I got into the specialist unit, I was ushered again into the ward. And when I walked in, I saw a bed surrounded by doctors and nurses. And on that bed was this very skinny, skeleton-looking person. So skinny that I could see the ribs almost trying to come out of his skin. The skins were covered in shingles and lesions, and I was like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, the figure on the bed turned. And it was Ibrahim. My best friend was lying down in that bed, completely different from who I saw a few months back when we were leaving school on holiday. I was going to rush to his side, and the doctor stopped me and they said, you need to put on a face mask, you need to put on a glove. I was like, what is happening? And then he turned around and he looked at me and he said, Bisi, the doctor told me I've got AIDS. Before this, I've never heard of that word before. I don't know what it means. Yeah, I've heard of HIV. I have no idea that it led to it. I heard of it because I saw billboards everywhere targeting heterosexuals to use condom because it prevented HIV. As a gay man, there was no message for me. There was no message for my friend. Ibrahim told me he wanted me to take the message of HIV and AIDS to the MSM and gay community in Nigeria. A few weeks later, Ibrahim died. I was so upset, I was angry, and I was searching for answers. I went on the internet, I Googled, I searched for everything. And then I came across an organization in Nigeria called Alliance Rights Nigeria. And with them, I started volunteering, trying to understand, how HIV is affecting not just me, but my other gay friends. And a few years, by 2003, I became the program director of Alliance Rights. And that changed the course of my life completely. By the time I became the program director, I got an invitation to speak at the 4th National HIV Conference in Abuja. And I remember that day, I was sharing the platform with a representative of sex workers, drug users, and someone from the women's community. And I got up to speak. And I told the world the story of Ibrahim. And sharing that stage with us that day was the Nigerian Minister for Health. And he got on the podium. And the first thing he said is, he looked at the three of us and he said, now is the opportunity for you to join us in the fight against HIV. As a Nigerian, I find this shocking because we should not forget, Nigerian morality is dictated by religion. Everybody must live their life either according to the Bible or according to the Quran. And for a minister for health to call somebody like me who is openly gay to be part of the HIV decision-making of the country was a huge step. Thank you very much. And a few days later, I got an email from him, we had the meeting, and that changed the course of HIV prevention and treatment in Nigeria. We were able to get gay men, drug users, sex workers on the agenda. We were distributing condoms. We were doing everything. Treatment became part of so our friends who are positive can have access to treatment. But in 2014, on January 17, something happened. The Nigerian president, Goodluck Jonathan, signed into law an act that prohibits same-sex marriage in Nigeria. The act that prescribed 14 years imprisonment for known or perceived homosexual. It was at that day that all the hard work we've done to bring the rate of HIV down in Nigeria went down the drain. It was at that day that we realized that all the work we started in 1999 was going to be wasted. And we started collecting data. And by the time we collected this data, we realized that Lagos must most cosmopolitan city in Nigeria, is recording a 40% decrease in the uptake of HIV and AIDS for gay men. The same thing in Rivers State, the same thing in Kano. It was the same picture all over Nigeria. But one thing was clear. Nigeria let down Ibrahim because Nigeria failed to protect its vulnerables. It wasn't just Nigeria. The international communities, including Africa, let down Ibrahim because we failed to stand up, to talk and speak up for the vulnerable amongst us. Today, we see many Ibrahim running away from Africa and running to Europe and America, claiming asylum. But instead of protecting them, what do we do to them? We offer them detention centers. We call them liars, we call them cheats. We say they don't belong here. Instead of calling them one of us, we call them illegal immigrants. There are millions of Ibrahims who are living in Europe and America today that what they need is just treatment and love to stay alive. But what do? We ask them for documents, and if they don't have it, we deny them access. Today, the World Bank has over 50 billion US dollar investments in Nigeria. And those investments stop people like me from accessing them because of my sexuality. Today, we still have laws in different countries in the world criminalizing HIV transmission when we know, according to science, that that is harmful to HIV prevention and treatment. Today, we have over 34 million people living with HIV. More than over 40% of those people are waiting in line to have access to treatment that will save their life. But what am I telling you today? Because many times people ask, what can I do? It's very simple. All you can do is to join me. Join your voices with mine in standing up against the inequalities that is happening all over the world. Join me in telling your government to stop the cutting of HIV funding globally. Join me in challenging religious organizations that they should preach equity, love, and respect, irrespective of race, gender, sexuality, or sexual orientation. Join me in telling international organizations like the UN, like the World Bank, like the WHO, that human rights matters and human lives matters. Join me in telling the development world, the world of development, that the right of people is much more important than politics. When I lost Ibrahim, he was not the only person I lost. Today, I remember Dele. He was 23 when he died. I remember Emmanuel. He was 25. Richard was 28. Chimezie was 28 when he died. Noel was 28. Shegun was 29. Emeka was 29. Levinus was 30. Innocent was 32. Tony Obara was 32. Flexi was 45. Austin was 45. Cardoso was 52. Dario Dumoye is the executive director of Alliance Right Nigeria. He was 41 when he died. Ibrahim was 26. We should stop another Ibrahim from dying. Thank you.